Hello and welcome to the Authentic Thriving Podcast. With me, Abia Ebenezer Bamikbayon. I am in the business of transforming life positively through counseling, life coaching. I'm also the founder of ASAP Consultancy based in the United Kingdom. I am also the author of the book, Inner Harmony, Resilience Beyond Chronic Stress and Burnouts. And I also use Inner Harmony as a recovering system for trauma. This space is for healing conversation, soulful truths, and also we talk about tools that could help you come back home to yourself. Welcome and thank you for joining me today. In this episode, we're going to be talking about religious cults and the wounds they leave behind. I don't know if you've heard about the stories that is ongoing since last week on social media about people that have been kidnapped for years now due to their belonging to a fake religious organizations. So they call them religious cults. And these people have been isolated from their family and their friends. They've been told to close their businesses. I can only imagine the traumatic experiences those people are going through and will be dealing with, which could potentially lead to post-traumatic stress disorder later. I don't know. But these people, if there is no PTSD later, but there is definitely traumatic event that will be going on or they may have been through already. So today's episode is quite heavy, but I feel it is very, very necessary because this is Authentic Thriving Podcast. And we'll talk about our mental, emotional, spiritual, physical well-being. So it's only fair that we also address this topic as well. I know this is not the kind that make headlines very often, but it's a topic that should be dealt with. Sometimes we walk around it like eggshell because it has to do with religion. It shouldn't be so. Things need to be said. Things need to be addressed. Because when this story broke out, I was not surprised. I was not surprised that there was a religious cult ongoing in Africa. It has always been there. But thanks to technology, we can then begin to compare about different religious organizations that we've heard about that are occultic, has got nothing to do with religion. They are just occultic, but they cover themselves with the religious umbrella. These scandals involve manipulation, fear-driven prophecy, and spiritual control that has been disguised as divine instructions. And like I said before, I was not shocked because as a teenager, I've seen people experience this. Thanks to a church that was just down the road near where I live, it was headed by a young man who has intense presence with his prayers. Preaching was really good at the beginning. The choir ministrations were good, and before you knew it, people were flocking around because of his prophetic ability. So it looked good at first where people were flocking in. Even me, I went there. All right, we went there. But the thing is, I am so glad that my family and I did not get entangled in the occultic side of things because they will run it to look normal from the outside. But the deeper you get in, they will suck you into the occultic side. Like the one online, it started with the course, right? They were doing different courses, how to hear from God, and people were signing up for it, paying in dollars and everything. So there is the front side and there is the back end side. So I'm so glad that the church that was in my neighborhood, who were in the front side of it, we didn't know what was going on in the back end. Until the story started to unfold of people that were asked to sleep with him for deliverance. Yes, deliverance. They asked to sleep with him. Married women inclusive were asked to sleep with him because he wanted to deliver them specially and remove the demonic oppressions in them. There were stories of people giving him gifts, cooking food, and just paying him homage because they did not want to miss out on his prophetic words. He had become like a god in their eyes. And none of them could even, remember that God, there was no part in the Bible that said people were sleeping with the prophets to get prophecies. There was no part in the Bible. But alas, people do not read their Bible. They do not read their holy book. They just want other people to spoon feed them. So if you are out there, you're listening to this, and you're one of those that want to hear from God so desperately, that puts you in a very vulnerable position. Because these people, they target the vulnerable, the brokenhearted, the one that are searching, the one that are desperate to be healed. They can even use your strength. Maybe you wanted to just hear from God. You so much love God. You wanted to hear from Him. And once they know that is your, what I call it, a strength or a weakness, and once they know that is your desire, they will just manipulate your desire to connect with God and present themselves as the only voice through which God speaks. So that is not new. That has always been a manipulation from the onset. Now, you might be wondering, Sonia, what do you mean? It has always been a source of manipulation from the devil. It's the same pattern. Let me cast your mind back to Genesis, when Eve was manipulated by the serpent. He did not just come and say, "Oh, Eve, go and eat from the tree in the middle of the garden." He didn't come right like that. He said, "Did God really say that you shouldn't eat from the trees?" That is what he said. Did God really say? So he sowed that seed of confusion. And this is the same thing people are sowing. They sow the seed of confusion, making you to believe that really, I am so high up now. I'm dining with God. I am having a chat with Him. I'm hanging out with God because of my position, but you can't. So if you want me to take a message there, and you want me to bring a message from there, then you just need to just pay me homage and reverence me. Stick with me, and I will help you deliver and bring back message to you. Because that's what the serpent did to Eve. He sowed that seed of confusion. He offered the illusion of deeper connection by twisting the word. God doesn't want you to be wise like Him. This is why He doesn't want you to eat from that tree. He said God doesn't want you to be wise. And that greed, again, it tapped into a greed of Eve wanting to know like God. Because I'm sure Eve will like, wow, reverence the presence of God. And now there's someone not telling you, an animal or whatever it is, telling you that if you eat from that tree, you'll be as wise as God. So Eve was sold from the beginning like, yes, I want to be as wise as God. I want to have that deeper connection with Him, to be on par with Him. And that's the same thing they are still using now. And Eve was moved to believe the serpent. And not only did she eat from that tree, she also gave it to her husband Adam. Now, if that is not the biggest manipulation of all, what do we call it? Because after they ate from that tree, they did not become like God, but they were able to see that they were naked, which they were oblivious of. The same thing with people when they start giving them prophecy of this, and they start giving you things that are past in your life, and you're like, oh wow, they really do hear from God. Have you forgotten that about you? You may have told people about yourself. Maybe you've told people around you about the things that are going on, and they might have fed information to the prophet or the prophetess, and they will use the same information, and then you begin to feel like, oh wow, these people are hearing from God. That is what they are using to manipulate people right now. We have to be really, really careful. Because people are getting counseling, people are getting falling out with their family, people are getting mentally disturbed, emotionally overwhelmed because of the different trauma that they are bringing from these religious occultic places. This is what abuse in the name of religion does to you. It changes everything. It twists love, it redefines devotion, it isolates you from the truth and masking it to be something else. But if you can be patient enough to just grab the book and say, check our spirit, you need to test our spirit. If you were able to do that, probably people will not fall victim of this. I really do empathize with the people, I empathize with the families, I empathize with their friends. But we don't want more people getting into this, because I'm in my 40s now. And when I was a teenager, I heard about stories like this. And as a full-blown adult, I'm still hearing, I'm thinking, when is this going to stop? It is not new. It has always been there. God is not limited to the pulpit. God is not to be bossed by any title. God does not need a middleman to show that they love you or that they want to speak to you. He speaks in His words, which is the Bible. God speaks through His words, which is the Bible. A lot of people keep saying, God said to me, How did God say it to you? Did God whisper it in your ear? We need to be able to say, God showed me in a dream. I read it in the Bible and the story resonates with me. For example, a woman that is looking for the fruit of the womb might read the story of Anna, resonate with her, and adopt the same posture that she did, pray fervently, use some prayer point from there, and she will get pregnant. So that was God speaking to her through Anna's case. So when people start making God feel, ooh, and you're like, oh wow, they are the ones that can hear from God. So we need to be extremely nice to them and listen to them and just submit to them. They will be able to bring us word back. This is how they get people to come into the circle. God speaks in His word, which is in His Holy Bible. God whispers things from you reading, and then you just be quiet, and before you know it, He will give you a different definition of that word that you have been reading over and over again, meditating on. You will just get a different explanation to that. That is your word. He answers prayer that is said sincerely. All He needs is for you to believe in Jesus and for you to have faith, even as small as a mustard seed. If you have ever seen a mustard seed, you would know that it is tiny. If a mustard seed drop from your hand to the ground, there is a chance that you will never find it again. It is that tiny, absolutely tiny. And the mustard seed grows really fast. If you drop mustard seed in a wet cotton wool and just leave it by the sun or by the windowsill, you will realize that in 2 days, it will be sprouting up already. This is why God said we should have faith like the mustard seed. As small as the mustard seed, it grows really fast. So we have to be careful with people that move around, start saying, God told me, I heard what the Lord said about you, especially when this word are quoted in fear, in control, in guilt, in lies. You wouldn't know it's lies, but anything that will make you start running away from people that you love, people that have cared for you for years, calling your family members witches, your friends witches, or all sorts, or just saying things that will make you isolate yourself from the people that you once know, then you begin to know that is a red flag. You don't need a title to talk to God. You don't need a spiritual ranking to be heard by God. All you need, like I said, is a clean heart and a faith as small as a mustard seed. Have you ever experienced religious control or know someone who has experienced religious control? It is okay to ask questions. It is okay to hold our religious leaders accountable in a respectful way. These experiences, if you do not do this and you experience a lot of control and you lose yourself and you are fearful of your religious leader, then God does not operate in fear. He is love. So these experiences, we need to do all we can to stay well away from it, because the consequences is too big. It can leave deep emotional and psychological scars, which will then require you to go through trauma-informed counseling. I'm telling you, I have done counseling for people that have been through religious abuse. It is just as bad as any form of abuse, whether it's been sexual abuse, whether it's been domestic violence, whether it's been financial abuse. Sometimes even the religious abuse kind of just cover because there will be cohesion. Sometimes there will be sexual abuse. Sometimes there will be financial abuse. Sometimes there will be emotional and mental abuse. So spiritual abuse sometimes covers every other type of abuse, which makes it even more dangerous. Remember, healing, choosing to leave, doesn't mean you are a bad person. You have to leave to heal. Healing is not rebellion. Healing is your right. So I urge you to read your Holy Bible, ask God questions directly, choose your places of worship very, very carefully, preferably a place that has a physical presence. Draw to God to stop waiting to be spoon-fed. God is not a monster. He's a God of love. Seek God by yourself. I really do pray and hope that those that have been held in captive will be released, and anyone that is undergoing this find the strength to leave and begin their healing. Please, there is no condemnation. There is no shame or regret. Just move and process your emotions and begin to heal. As always, thank you so much for sitting with me in this space. Remember, your healing matters. Your stories matters. If you know anyone that's been through religious abuse and you want to talk about it in this podcast, just reach out to me. Let's see how we can get your stories out there to get people to learn and also learn on how you healed as well. Your story really do matters. It can change life. Okay? And your faith is valid even when it is quiet. Until next time, I remain your host on Authentic Thriving Podcast. I be Sonia, and I hope you keep thriving and keep flourishing. Take care and stay blessed. Bye for now.